Chapter 14. The 1st of November, a Sunday, was crisp and clear as I rode to meet Henri at his house. We had been taking turns riding out to check on the willows and elms near the banks of the River of Sorrows, and we had dutifully entered our data into our life science research journals. This data included the circumference of the tree, measured 3 times, as well as general observations about the leaves and bark, and any signs of wildlife. It felt a lot less like being partners when we took turns going out. But Henri did have a point. It was a strenuous trip going there and back. That Sunday, I left home at around 10th bell to ride my bicycle up to his house in the northwest quarter. As I approached his house, I couldn't help but be amazed, yet again, at its size and grandeur. The main structure was 3 stories tall, with light brown tiles on the outside, while the window trims and door color matched the deeper brown of the roof. I parked my bicycle on the sidewalk in front of the house, lowered the kickstand, and walked up the sidewalk to the front door. They had an elaborate doorbell that I always enjoyed pushing when I came to meet Henri. I imagined it could be a song the crew of a ship sang as they worked. I rang the bell, and within 10 seconds the door was opened by a young woman. I thought she was too young to be his mother, so perhaps it was his older sister. What was her name?
Good morning, young man. May I ask what business you have here?
She had a slight accent, which I had come to associate with native French speakers.
Bonjour, je suis Corban. Je vais à l'école avec Henri. Est-ce qu'il est ici?
Hello, I'm Corban. I go to school with Henri. Is he here? She turned to call out.
Henri! Corban est ici.
From deeper within the house, we heard him reply.
I'll be right there.
We stood there, looking at one another and waiting for him to approach. She was a bit taller than I, with long blonde hair done in a single braid down her back and light green eyes. She had a beautiful face, almost as beautiful as mother's. Finally, I remembered what Henri had said about his older sister.
Are you Henri's sister, Colette?
Her eyebrows knitted together in suspicion.
Yes. Has Henri been talking about me? What did he say?
Oh, well. I had asked where he was apprenticed. He explained that he was working with you and your father, but that you would inherit your family's business. That's all he said.
That had better be all he said.
I suspected her menacing tone was simply a facade, because it quickly morphed to genuine curiosity.
Where did you learn French?
Father has taught me a lot. He said it's good to know more than English. I've also been learning from some other men in the area, mostly around Central Square.
Oh, then you must know.
Henri interrupted her, pushing by and grabbing me as he burst out the doorway. We were halfway down the block before I got him to slow down, frustrated by the interruption.
What was that about? You could have at least let me finish my conversation with Colette, instead of rudely taking me away.
It was nothing. I just wanted to get this over with. I think it's pointless to measure these trees every single week, and I'm half tempted to just keep writing down the same measurements. If I don't continue getting good marks in school, my family has threatened to force me to continue as long as I can, whether I want to or not.
The orange trees came into view across the street.
What are you saying? You don't like school?
I like it well enough. I like seeing my friends, and sometimes I'm interested in the stuff they teach, but I know I don't want to go to school much longer.
He shrugged, putting his hands into the front pockets of his jeans as we crossed the street and neared the orange trees. We quickly measured each of the 3 trees we had marked, 3 times each. as was the case each Sunday before. The circumferences hadn't changed.
But they've got to change sometime. Or perhaps the change is so small we can't measure it yet.
I kept my doubts to myself because I knew Henri didn't see the point. Despite my doubt, I felt science was one of the things I really got in life. I knew that results didn't happen overnight. I had to be patient and persevere, especially when things were difficult. After we were done measuring, Henri handed me the measuring tape.
Here you go. See you Tuesday.
Henri hurried back to his house, seemingly unconcerned over whether I could keep up with him. I decided he was done talking, so I stopped at my bicycle as he walked up his steps. Before he could open the door, it was opened from within, pulling him halfway inside before he let go. Behind him, I could see his mother peeking out at me.
Corban, como ça va, Ashowi?
Corban, how are you doing today?
Je vais très bien, merci, madame. Et vous, comment ça va?
I'm doing very well, thank you, ma'am. And how are you all? I had met Henri's mother the previous Sunday when I came to meet with him. She instantly struck me as an extremely kind, yet bold, woman. She stepped around Henri to get a better look at me. She was a little taller than Mother, with hair that looked like a mix between red and blonde, and hazel eyes. The few times I had seen her, she had her hair done up in a knot behind her head, keeping it out of her way. That day, she was wearing a dark blue apron over her blouse.
We are doing wonderfully. We are beginning our celebration for La Toussaint. We know it's not until tomorrow, but we always begin this afternoon with a meal. Would you like to join us?
I hesitated, wondering if I should stay without asking for permission, or if I had enough time to stay before I had to get back for services, especially on the eve of All Saints' Day. Before I could answer, Henri spoke up.
No, Maman. Remember, Corban must help his family with services at their chapel every Sunday. That's why I didn't.
Ma'am, I would be delighted to stay and celebrate with you. Henri must have forgotten that services aren't until this evening, so I have at least a few hours before I must be home. Thank you so much for your invitation.
I pointedly re-engaged the kickstand and rested my bicycle upon it, then walked up the steps just in time to see Henri disappear inside, leaving his mother standing there to receive me into the house. As many times as I had met Henri to study the orange trees, this was the first time I had ever been inside. As I entered, I noticed several pairs of shoes lined up along the wall and under the small bench, so I quickly stepped out of my shoes and added them to the others. I followed Henri's mother and entered the house proper. Immediately in front of me was a grand staircase leading to an upper level. To the right was an enormous living area. By the staircase sat an upright piano. On another wall a large television was mounted. Facing that wall, under a large picture window, was a spacious wraparound couch, probably big enough to seat at least 6 adults, with breathing room in between. As she continued to a door that appeared to lead to a kitchen, she called over her shoulder,
Just make yourself at home, Corban. Dinner will be ready shortly.
I hurried after her, but had to go all the way through a dining area to a door to the kitchen before I saw her again.
Excuse me, ma'am, is there a bathroom I could use?
Yes, off the hall from the living room you walked through. If you need anything else, don't hesitate to ask.
She turned to a large skillet cooking on a stove. The air was filled with scents of food that I couldn't even attempt to identify, and my mouth started watering instantly as I turned around and headed back in search of the bathroom. On returning to the living room, I noticed a hallway that led to the right. I passed 2 closed doors before I came to the end of the hallway, which held an open door leading to a bathroom that was unsurprisingly spacious. It was at least twice the size of our lone bathroom at home. I assumed, since there had to be bedrooms on the upper level, there would be another bathroom there as well.
How many people live here?
Suddenly, I was startled as I looked to the right, where a mirror covered the length of the wall above the sink. My reflection stared back at me. I had never looked into a mirror so large. We had one small hand mirror at home, which we used to check if our face was presentable. We certainly didn't have one of these mirrors in our bathroom and home. Neither did the school, but as I thought about it more, it seemed like perhaps there once were mirrors like this, above the sinks in the boys' bathroom. Maybe the students wasted too much time looking at themselves, so they got rid of them. I was reminded of my purpose for being in the bathroom, so I took one last look at my short black hair, then quickly relieved myself, flushed the toilet, and washed my hands before walking back out. I returned to find the living room now occupied by a young girl, a few years older than Hannah, perhaps 6 or 7. Like Colette, she had blonde hair and green eyes. In fact, I wondered if Colette looked much different at that age. She was kneeling on the floor in between the couch and a low table, colouring on a piece of paper, and surrounded by dozens of crayons scattered all over the table, as well as a few on the floor. I observed. I crouched down to retrieve them for her.
You dropped a few crayons.
I placed them on the table with the rest. She continued colouring, not even looking over to see who I was, so I asked,
What are you colouring?
Finally, she stopped colouring and slowly looked at my face.
Who are you?
My name is Corban. I've been working with Henri on a science project to study trees. Your mother invited me to share a meal with your family today in celebration of La Toussaint. What's your name?
My name is Marie. I'm 7 years old and I love celebrations, especially the food and the presents.
She picked up a green crayon and resumed her colouring.
What are you colouring?
I had an idea of what it could be, but I didn't want to guess wrong and offend her. I really wanted to know, and I think she noticed my genuine interest because she set down the crayon and looked up at me.
I'm coloring what my house and family would look like if I had a dog. We don't have one, and Maman says it's hard to get one because they don't like staying indoors anymore. But my friend, Larissa, has one, a very small one that stays indoors.
I examined the picture again. I thought maybe it was her family outside their house, but it had one more person than I had expected, so I wasn't sure. I pointed to them one by one, confirming their identities.
This is you, and Henri and Colette, your mom and dad. But who's this on the end?
That's Grandpia, silly. Haven't you met him yet?
I bent over a little more to take a closer look.
He seems familiar, but I'm not certain I've met him. I definitely haven't met him here today. Could I colour with you, Marie?
Yes, please do.
She merrily picked up a blank piece of paper from the pile and setting it on the table to her right, clearly indicating I was welcome to kneel next to her. So I made my way around the table and knelt in front of the paper. I decided to attempt drawing Marie playing with a small dog outside. I knew it wouldn't be accurate. Drawing with crayons is difficult to draw anything accurately. Drawing Marie was difficult, but the dog was even more so, as I had only ever seen them in books. If there were still any remaining in the city, they were kept safely shut inside. As I was finishing colouring the blue sky at the top of the paper, Marie scooted over to scrutinize my drawing. I expected her to say something, but she simply sat there looking for at least a minute before I finished and looked at her face. Her expression was one of silent wonder.
Corban, it's beautiful. It's me, you drew me, and the dog, it looks so real, like, I feel like it's a real dog somewhere that belongs to me, somehow. I know that's not real, but that's how the picture makes me feel.
Here, you can keep it as a reminder that maybe, somewhere out there, there's a dog for you. But if not, You can always pretend how it might be. You can look at the picture and have hope.
How can this be bad? I thought. How can art be bad if it gives someone a hope like that?
Oh, Corban, merci beaucoup.
Marie stood up and gave me a tight hug. I returned the hug, lightly patting her on the back. Footsteps sounded from across the dining room behind me, accompanied by a voice, a deep, gruff, familiar voice.
Marie, Maman says it's time to get ready for her. It looks like you made a new friend today.
Yes, and look what he colored for me.
So he did. It looks like Corban might be an artist someday, if he keeps working at it.
I finally recognized the voice, quickly turning around to face him.
Louis, c'est toi. Tu es le grand-père de Henri et Marie.
Louis, it's you. You're Henri and Marie's grandfather.
Oui, Corban, et je vois que tu es le nouvel ami de Marie.
Yes, Corban, and I see that you are Marie's new friend.